Hello, my name is Scott Davis. Welcome to New World Birth. This is the care and feeding of a New World Age report for the Gregorian date of July 12, 2015, and one Ben or Reed or Corn in the Mayan Zolkin calendar with the Cancer new moon, Venus entering Virgo, and the Sun and Mercury entering Leo. July 12th is one Ben or Reed or Corn. It carries the themes of growth, sustenance, journeying in new directions, photosynthesis, protectors of the home and family, the world tree energy that connects heaven and earth, peace, harmony, and order, strength in being flexible, the crusader or champion, and sharing with others. Quetzalcoatl, the god king feathered serpent, was prophesied to return in the year of one reed. And Quetzalcoatl is credited with replacing human sacrifice with flowers, songs, and meditation. The reed connects the light energy with the earth energy in an integration of multidimensional existence. So this transcend is a time to be grateful for family and home. So share your most precious home, your open and loving heart. And before I get into the daily energy for one Ben or Reed or Corn, on the 12th, all the planets appear to be moving direct or forward from our perspective here on the Earth, except for Saturn and Chiron, Neptune, and Pluto, which appear to be moving in reverse or retrograde motion. And remember, the themes of retrograde planets are the review of the past, um, to reevaluate, reminisce, so that and we can see these themes being played out. First of all, we'll talk about Saturn retrograde. It reviews our commitments, plans, what we do for work, the structures in our lives. This one's a little more complicated than most because Saturn began its apparent reverse movement in the sign of Sagittarius, but is currently in the sign of Scorpio. Um, and Saturn retrograde is a real taskmaster that demands that we take responsibility to review our beliefs while in Sagittarius and our ethics while in Scorpio. Chiron retrograde is in Pisces along with Neptune, and it's about releasing stuck emotional energy so that we can return to the natural flow of life. Retrograde Chiron has us reviewing our wounds so that they can be released by having the courage to open our hearts to any fear or pain associated with our past. When Chiron is in Pisces, people are willing to sacrifice their individual pain in hopes of finding bliss in universal consciousness. At worst, this can manifest as folks justifying their victimhood as some form of martyrdom. This should be transcendence and surrender without losing ourselves in the experience. And then Neptune retrograde in Pisces as well is seeking transcendence through spiritual experiences. This will be a time to use spiritual practices to keep us grounded as we expand our intuition and consciousnesses. Both Neptune and Pisces, the sign that it rules, tend to be dreamy, imaginative, difficult to nail down to their qualities of due to their qualities of illusion and illumination, often without any way of knowing which is which. They represent compassion and codependence, selflessness and loss of self, higher purpose and substance abuse, in their inspiration to transcend the material plane and experience something beyond words and thoughts. And then we've got also Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. Pluto's the planet of transformation through death and rebirth. And when it's retrograde, it's about reviewing the past and releasing anything from the past that's a burden to our new path. Pluto in Capricorn is determined in exposing the darkness, destroying the old order so that we can rise up like the phoenix from the ashes and soar again. Capricorn is about large structures, including banks, governments, corporations, and religions. Pluto's in Capricorn until 2023, where it is destroying and regenerating the structures that are the foundation of our societies. represented by Capricorn. This is a time of a cosmic course correction for the entire planet. We cannot continue to harm Mother Earth for the economic gain of a few. It is the resistance to Pluto's lessons of letting go of the past that bring tragedy and pain. And since Venus is about to turn retrograde, and it's really slowing to a stop during this trisena, it turns retrograde before sunrise on the 25th, the day that begins the next trisena. But I thought I'd cover it in this report. Venus appears to be stopped at the opening of the month prior to appearing to move retrograde or in reverse motion from the perspective of the Earth on July 25th. And it does that in the sign of Virgo, which we'll get to in this trisena. Which is about the planet of aesthetics, romance, and money, and it will remain in the sign of the Virgin for a week after turning retrograde before it backs into Leo on the 31st. Venus retrograde reviews not only our social and romantic relationships, but also what we value. So this period is a period where people will assess what they are attracted to, including possessions and wealth. When a planet is stopped, it's said to be at the peak of its power, and Venus is currently moving through its shadow period since June 21st, when it crossed the point where it will eventually turn direct, and it remains in the shadow period prior to turning retrograde on July 25th, where we receive information about needing to make an adjustment to our direction, particularly related to those Venus themes. Venus is retrograde from the 25th of July at 0 degrees 26 minutes of Virgo until September 6th at 14 degrees Leo, which will be a time when we notice events related to our relationships and or money that shifts our thinking to prepare us for a change that we will implement once Venus has turned direct. Often we reconnect with old friends and lovers and repair an ailing relationship during Venus retrograde. Venus will take a few days to build momentum in moving reverse after the 25th. Venus was supported by Uranus on June 29th. It merged with Jupiter on July 1st, and it's going to square Saturn on July 14th. And so during its retrograde period, it will repeat these alignments. And once it makes these alignments again, once it turns direct. So we're looking at these same angles for 3 times. So we're going to be experiencing the themes of wanting social experiences and romantic encounters to be outside of the norm, unusual and surprising when Venus dances with Uranus. Conjunct Jupiter, Venus is optimistic, happy, outgoing, and eager, but also can be about folks indulging themselves and spending money as self-discipline is low. And challenged by Saturn brings a time of difficulty relating to others, feeling cool, reserved, isolated, as folks will be reviewing what they're getting out of their relationships as compared to what they're putting in. So let's look at the daily vibrational energy for the trisena. July 1st is one Ben or reed or corn, which is about unity experience through maintaining the home in the Mayan Zolkin calendar. And we've got the sun in a square to Uranus. So from our perspective here on the Earth, the sun is forming a 90-degree angle with Uranus, which is a disruptive transit, adding to the likelihood of upsets and behaviors that are upsetting to others. Also unexpected mechanical problems, as sudden a sudden argument or separation within a relationship. With the sun involved, we're talking about a conflict between egos. Folks will also be more likely to feel restless, so it might be important to be conscious of this possibility and to find a way to allow the restless energy to express itself rather than being shocked by how it gets expressed unconsciously. This brings an accident-prone energy and a time to realize that those accidents are not happening to you, but that you are creating them. The drive to do something free and liberating is also very strong. So try to exercise enough consciousness to give it expression without causing damage to your life. And we had the sun in opposition to Pluto on the 6th a few days back. So the whole week that we're talking about is a week of change, disruption, transformation, as our routines and settled parts of our lives to our routines and settled parts of life where we've become sedentary and complacent. I'm not going to be covering the daily lunar energy in these reports other than new and full moons, but that information is available on the New World Birth Daily Facebook post and also on the blogger New World Birth blog if you want the daily lunar activity. The 13th is two Ish or Jaguar duality experience through enjoying nature, while Mercury trines Neptune. So Mercury here is trine to Neptune. So from our perspective here on the Earth, this is a 120-degree angle between Mercury and Neptune in the water signs of Cancer and Pisces. Mercury finding support from Neptune is very imaginative and creative, but also more sensitive to the world around us. This favors art, music, poetry, romantic literature, and daydreams. We'll probably hear about people talking about their fantasies and hopes for the future as people are less interested in discussing practical matters. It's a great day for studying mystical and spiritual subjects as we can transcend rational thought and just know through our intuition. During this time, we've got a stellium group of planets in Cancer. We've got obviously we've got the Sun and Mercury and Mars, and the Moon moves into Cancer in the following days. Leading up to the new moon, and which is of course in the sign of its rulership. Cancer is ruled by the moon, and with that new moon on the 15th. This really puts a greater emphasis on home and family between the 13th and the 16th. July 14th is 3 men or eagle taking action through seeing from a higher perspective. And we've got Venus in a square to Saturn. So from our perspective here on Earth, this is a 90-degree angle between Venus and Saturn, which can be a day of having difficulty relating to others, feeling cool, reserved, isolated. Many will be reevaluating what they're getting out of their relationships as compared to what they're putting in. If you feel loneliness or depression on the 14th, just realize that this too shall pass. Also on the 14th, the Sun trines Chiron, which illuminates our wounds by opening our hearts to allow healing. And then on the 15th, we've got 4 Keeb or wisdom, stability through introspection, meditation, and forgiveness. While we have the Cancer new moon. New moons are a time of new beginnings, and in Cancer it's about shifting and changing of our families and home life to bring more security. New moons bring an opportunity to set an intention for manifestation on the following full moon. You want to look at the house in your astrology chart that contains 23 degrees, 14 minutes of Cancer, to consider what area in your life is being activated by this new moon. For me, it would be my second house of money, income, financial prospects, and possessions. So I might set an intention related to using that energy to increase abundance. The moon merges with Mercury, Mars, and the Sun. It's opposed by Pluto and challenged by Uranus. The new moon conjunct Mercury brings positive energy for integrating our thoughts and moods. And Mars brings the other side of the coin with experiencing irritable moods and critical communications. Opposed by Pluto brings some of our deepest emotions rising to the surface to be examined and related to in a way that leads to empowerment. Challenged by Uranus, people are likely to act hasty and jump to conclusions during this new moon. This is a difficult new moon as folks will want to break free of limitations and create excitement. With Mercury and Mars opposing Pluto, it can bring power struggles and obsessive thinking, and the compulsion to create something new, unique, and powerful. And then also on the 15th, we've got Mars in opposition to Pluto. So from our perspective here on the Earth, this is forming a 180-degree angle, which may seem out of control and very intense when Mars opposes its higher octave planet of Pluto, Mars's personal desire and will. Pluto represents the higher will and the desire to transcend limitation to become our authentic, empowered self. In opposition, these forces are in a tense relationship with each other. And then it's followed by Mercury then opposing Pluto. So again, from our perspective here on the Earth, this is forming a 180-degree angle, which wants to get to the bottom of any problem in relationships or with people we encounter. Expect intellectual conflicts where people try to convince each other of their personal truth, which conflict. These conflicts can become subversive in their attempts to penetrate and may result in a smothering effect, which plays out behind the scenes. And then power plays are a strong possibility under this influence. Propaganda and indoctrination are themes that are likely to escalate for a day or so. The best use of this transit is to investigate hidden and secret subjects, whether they are coming out of our environment or aspects of ourselves. Research and puzzle solving benefits under this energetic. Just be careful of becoming obsessed with one possibility at the detriment of everything else. With both Mars and Mercury opposing Pluto, I'd expect hidden and subconscious information and actions to come to light. And July 16th is 5 Kaban, or Earth empowerment through gratitude for Mother Earth. And at this point, we've got Mercury conjunct Mars in Cancer. So from our perspective on Earth, they're at the exact same degree of Cancer, which should be handled with care because folks are more argumentative and take their egos too seriously for a few days. There could be information that activates circumstances with the need to take action. Active meditation such as yoga or Tai Chi or running or hiking would be good ways to balance this high level of mental stimulation. The 17th is 6 Etsnob or Flint, being in the flow through being introspective in the Mayan Zolkin calendar. The 18th is 7 Kawak or Storm, reflection through recognizing the gifts of adversity. And at this point, we've got Venus entering into Virgo. Crossing that sign is not even going to get to the first degree of Virgo before it turns retrograde. So for 2 weeks, due to the retrograde cycle, it's in Virgo, which can bring a level of caution to romance and socializing. This is a time when people want to feel special in the eyes of their partners. For some reason, this placement of Venus tends to promote scandal. This is also brings a love of the world rather than a love of just one person. Also on the 18th, we've got Mercury square to Uranus. So from our perspective here on Earth, this is a 90-degree angle between, again, planet octaves. Mercury and Uranus, bringing some tension between the lower and higher mind. If we can remain flexible, this can bring a fascination with new information and experiences. But without flexibility, this could be nerve-wracking as surprises and upsets become bothersome when the day does not go as planned. This can also bring folks epiphanies or other lightning fast new information that, if not paid attention to, may be gone just as quick. So a recording device may be a good way to capture these thoughts for review on another day. Use this time for brainstorming and leave analysis and adding detail for later, as concentration will be difficult under this influence. It's not a great day to make important decisions because of the impulsive and hasty nature of this energetic. And on the 19th, we have 8 Ahau, or Sun, balanced through honoring the wisdom and memory of our ancestors, with Mercury trine Chiron, bringing greater understanding to past wounds and greater opportunities for healing to occur. On the 20th, we've got 9 Emish, or crocodile, patience experienced through nurturing new beginnings in the Mayan Zolkin calendar. The 21st is 10 Eek, or wind, manifestation through communication, with the Sun in a sextile to Saturn. So from our Sun in a trine to Saturn. So from our perspective here on the Earth, the Sun is forming a 120-degree angle to Saturn. When the Sun is supported by Saturn, we have a great opportunity to learn something about ourselves through our relationship with and our effect on our environments. It brings out close relationships between who we are and what we do. July 22nd is 11 Akbal, or night, resolution through contemplating the stars, while our own personal star, the Sun, enters Leo. So from our perspective here on Earth, we'll just imagine that the end of the pointer is the Earth, and the pointer itself is line of sight. At this point, the Earth has moved this far around the orbit that now it's being seen against the backdrop of Leo in the tropical system. The Sun in Leo, this is the place of its rulership. For the next month, it's time we can expect more drama and creative energy. Folks may seem more witty and vivacious, chatty. I'd expect life to turn a little more entertaining when the Sun shines on the king of the jungle. Also on the 22nd, we've got Mercury trine to Saturn. So from our perspective here on Earth, Mercury is forming a 120-degree angle to Saturn in the water signs of Cancer and Scorpio, and it gains balance. Saturn supports Mercury, which may bring our thoughts to more serious concerns. This brings concentration and attention to detail. This is a careful energy to be methodical and painstaking. It's also good for organizing your environment or your life from a conservative and practical perspective. Counsel from elders is also favored under this influence, or you may just want to spend time alone in your thoughts. And then on the 23rd, We have 12 con or seed or lizard understanding through planting seeds and making new connections. And at this point, we've got Mercury entering into Leo, which brings 2 weeks of more exuberant and leadership in communication. Expect people to express themselves with a little more drama, less sensitivity, more stubbornness, and with a flair for humor. It would be best to avoid being arrogant or boastful under the Leo Mercury influence. Also on the 23rd, the Sun merges with Mercury. So again, it's from our perspective here, the Sun and Mercury are in the same line at the very early degree, probably 0 or 1 degree of Leo. Which stimulates our social interactions and conversations, particularly with people who are a part of our new direction. And in Leo, this could be related to creativity, also illumination that comes to some of the dark areas of our minds, which brings forward information that was previously in the shadows. This alignment emphasizes an increase in conversations, although folks are more inclined to talk than listen. Being a conjunction, this brings this intuitive, brings the initiative to start something new, including the start of a new creative venture. Could be something that you're also is brings financial gain because Mercury rules commerce and the exchange of ideas. This also brings a sharpness in the thinking process, and is a good time to make plans for the future. On July 24th is 13 Chichan or serpent movement to the next stage through being flexible. So no matter what energies are affecting you during the one read Trisena, just make sure that you're taking the time to be in the flow of the planet by being in nature or watching a sunrise or a sunset, communing with the stars, being conscious of the moment through introspection, meditation, or just being with somebody you love. Every day we have is a blessing, no matter what the dramas that beckon to distract us. And we're all here just giving the performance of a lifetime on the world stage. Just take some time to observe your play as well as act your part. Remember, you're a spiritual being that's having a human experience. I want to thank you for checking out New World Birth, and the next segment of the care and feeding of a new world age will be on July 25th for one Kimi or transformation with Venus and Uranus turning retrograde, the Aquarius blue full moon, and Saturn turning direct. You can check us out on Facebook, YouTube, the Mayan Magics website, and I encourage you to share this information as videos or as text as widely as you choose. And as always, I invite you to contact me at newworldbirth@yahoo.com if you have any questions or you wish to schedule a reading. And I am providing readings, and I'm doing my best to make this service available to the greatest amount of folks by creating 3 options with 3 levels of compensation. So if you've been thinking about getting a reading, please contact me. I would love to provide you a reading during these uncertain times. You'll need to be able to either call me in Maine in the USA, or we can connect with Skype to receive your reading. We're also accepting donations to keep these reports freely available, and contact me at newworldbirth@yahoo.com is where I can give you directions on making a donation or get a reading. I mean, these readings I'm putting out there are epic. They tend to run 2, 3, sometimes even 4 hours, where at the second and third level compensation, I look at your human design chart to describe, well, who is the character, who's in your story, who are you in your story. But I also then do astrological transits, so you really get 2 readings in one. And the astrology transits usually covering 3 months, but often I add in some important things that are coming up, even beyond that, or things that have just occurred, um, in order so that you know what are the scenes in the play or the movie that that character is going through, what's going on for that character. And if we were talking about, a script for a play, then the character needs lines. Well, your lines in your play, in your movie, are your strategy and authority from the human design portion. So I think this combination gives a really nice holistic description of who you are and what is going on in your life. Um, um, as always, I'm blessed that you've taken the time to connect with my passion for these ancient mysteries and their application to our journey during this incarnation. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste, in Lakesh, and look forward to connecting with you again in the future, whether it's in a reading or viewing a new video, or or an email with a question. All my best to everybody. Peace.